Okay, I want to welcome everyone to the Simon Fairfield Public Library Trustees meeting for Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023. We do have a quorum. Minutes were sent out by Ellie. Hopefully everyone's had a chance to read them. I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes unless there are corrections or questions or comments.
I'm going to send you, if the Zoom link works, that you told me about, corrected. There's stuff in the minutes, that I sent out, that because I copy and paste from the previous month, and you see at the bottom, the last page of it, you see at the bottom there was, because I couldn't see what I was reading. And the page before that, all the spacing is messed up. So what I'll do is I'll try this Zoom thing. If not, then I'll bring my computer down to you, Justin, to investigate.
We'll get it figured out.
So should we table the minutes until next meeting, or can we?
Well, I think they can go through because it's
there.
everything's there.
I read them fine.
Yeah, we just ignore the last paragraph here.
Yeah. All right. Do we have a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
Second? Second. All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, we'll move on to the financial report.
Okey-doke. The first thing I need to report is that the opening balance for building donations with interest I reported last month was not correct. After reconciling with Jean, we didn't invest that like right at the beginning of the fiscal year. So there was like a month that it was still invested with MMDT, which I had not picked up. So that is reflected now. So the opening balance for that was, 78,961 instead of 78,833. Everything else reconciled though. So we have our official opening balances for the trustee accounts on the following page. Not a whole lot has happened operationally yet. We pay our CWMARS bill straight up at the beginning of the year. So it looks like, since that's a $7,663 expense, it looks like our, like we're way over budget for where we are in the year, but we're really not because those expenses are front loaded. And everything else is just as you see before.
I have a request and then a question. If you could switch, you've got all the trustees' accounts alphabetical, and I'd like to, because they're all listed in Bartholomew as one sort of listed in there, so you could call it the Bartholomew account, but put building donations with interest, and the trust fund together.
Just move
Just
those
move it
around.
up?
Move it up.
Oh.
Yeah, or you could, and if you want to make it alphabetical, you could just call them all Bartholomew.
That's fair. Yeah, I'll play with the formatting next time.
Okay. And the question I had, normally I love that you've got the CW Mars bill, the 7663, exactly as it, that you've expended exactly what you were budgeted. So you've obviously lowered the amount that was in there, or did you put money elsewhere, or
Just adjust the line item to what the invoice is going to be, because I've always have the CWMARS assessment well in advance of whenever we're preparing the budget.
Yeah.
Last year, Matt just said, keep the extra in your line item and then use it wherever you want. So that's what I did.
As long as you're okay, they're okay.
Yeah, they care about the bottom line.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, yep.
So have you adjusted it at all?
Yeah, because I knew what the amount was, so that's what I put in the budget.
I know, but
7663.
where did you put whatever was left over? Or was it always 7663 from day one?
It was in there from day one, whenever I submitted our original operational request. And so that freed up money. I think I put some in repairs and maintenance, and I put some towards office supplies, and I just moved it to other places
Okay.
I think.
that
it
we
should
had
go-
overspent in last year.
Yeah, because the custodial supplies seem to skyrocket. They did last year.
The price of custodial supplies skyrocketed last year, and the amount of custodial supplies we use has increased post-COVID
Yeah,
as well.
but so why is it still budgeted at 425?
I just haven't adjusted it yet.
So do all the things in this row in budget add up to $83,058?
Yes.
Okay, so you don't have any wiggle room anywhere.
Well, I mean, we never have wiggle room because you can't have unallocated budget amounts in your municipal budget.
I don't have a previous, oh, maybe in there I did, in the minutes, yeah. Because it was appropriated last year, so you did go up a little bit. It was 309 and you got 425 this year. But you spent 791 last year. The CW Mars last year was appropriated $8,776 and you spent $7,470. And this just went up a little bit from that. So that's good. And so, all right, I'll complain more next month.
About what? I'm confused.
Well, no, I'm not understanding why, just looking at last year's budget and the way it went and where you were lacking, you were able to easily, in operations, move monies around where you found them, but I just don't see that in this one. This one looks, postage did go down, but I guess that's one of the things that's fine. And,
Are you asking why, if we spent $791 on custodial supplies last year, why it wasn't higher in this for this year? That's what she's asking.
That's, yeah, basically.
We had a lot of things that we overspent in last year, and I focused on repairs and maintenance first, just trying to flesh that out to its full, what we spent last year.
What was last year?
2207.
Okay, and what was,
Now, this year it's going to be 2,500.
and what was spent last year?
No, 2207. The budget was 1,000, he spent 2207, so he upped that to reflect what was actually
Yep,
spent.
I want to spend more on repairs and maintenance this year, though. I want to have the ability
So
to
you
spend
you
more out
put
of
that,
the
you put
operational
that
budget.
in here.
Yeah.
But you didn't do
So
this.
like if a rock
but with
busts out a
this-
window, we've got repairs and
Okay,
maintenance money.
But you didn't do the same thing with the custodial
I did not do
supplies
the
line
same thing
item.
with custodial supplies, because I still don't know exactly where that is going to end up after.
But-
Because I mean, like, the last couple of years have been crazy. It's hard to estimate where we're going to be. And right now, you know, due to like an ordering fluke, we have enough toilet paper probably to last the entire year. So I don't know where it'll.
No, but he.
But we
but
won't
he-
break
he increased it-
83.58.
Yeah, so you increased it by like 25% anyway, so it does, so it is higher.
Right, and then going back to what the municipality looks at is the bottom line. Under operations, we're able to move that money around
Yep.
as we need to. It's giving us a blueprint of just like Justin says, what we're looking at.
Yeah, the budget is a
totality,
guideline,
yeah.
but, you know, towards the end of the year, you know, like you
I think at this-
don't not spend the money if you have it allocated, if you still can, because I mean, we always have more things we can spend on, because
Right, exactly.
we have a 68-day wait list for ebooks right now.
Wow. I'm still raising money.
I don't know. I just wrote a letter to Unibank, so hopefully we'll get some money towards that.
Crazy. All right, are we good? Can we move on? All right. Moving on to the director's report and looking at circulation.
Circulation is good. or it's continuing to rise year over year. This was not a record July. We did circulate more in July of 2017, barely. But, that's the second highest number we've ever seen in a July. Summer reading is wrapped up. We'll have stats compiled next month, but Deb drew the grand finale prize ticket winner yesterday. Yesterday was the deadline for logging, so next month we'll know how many hours were logged, how many books, how many kids, and all that jazz. What everyone else has been focused on over the last month is adding CDs to the collection, because Marlboro gave us their CD collection. They deaccessioned the entire thing. 500 of them were last copies in CWMRs, so we kind of had to do a breakneck sprint to accession those first, so that they could then, because like if it's the last copy in Evergreen and it goes away, the database will purge it on Saturday, because they don't want empty bib records floating around that patrons can find that don't actually have any items. So we had to get those in quickly because Marlboro kindly left their records in until we got ours beside them, and now they're deleting theirs. We've got about 1,200 more to add, but they're not last copies, so that's going to become like the back burner project that, people on the Circ desk work on whenever they don't have anything else to do. But it's exciting, and I don't know why no other library is doing this, but like one box can hold 150 discs. And, I started it, we're up to our 10th box, just putting things in no particular order. Just if I get a disc we don't have in our collection, it goes in as the next number, box 7, disc 158, or whatever. And they're circuiting, they're going out. So it's
Wow.
That was going to be my
Yeah.
question.
Is it here, which would it be, audio or other media?
It would be audio. So, not a huge movement, but 34 discs, most of those came out of the boxes, not out of the collection we have on the shelf. And as we add more, it's going to go up. Sorry, did you have something to say, Dawn?
I was just trying to figure out where you're going to house them. They're going to be just with all the other gifts that you have.
No, they're in boxes. They're in paper sleeves, slid into boxes. They're right inside kind of the front door on those metal shelves right now.
Is that, and will they stay there?
Until we run out of room on that shelf. With, working on the building program and potential renovation and things, I don't know where anything's going to end up long-term right now. But they may end up in the attic or basement, the archive. It just depends on how many we get, because it's also kind of a donation-driven accession, because I'm not buying a whole lot of new CDs to put in this. It's just whenever anything is donated, if we don't have it, we take it.
Yeah, okay.
So, Justin, the CDs are counted with audiobooks?
No, audiobooks are different. Well, they're counted the same on this, like in the director's report format, books, audio counts audiobooks as well as music CDs, because that's how
Okay. well-
Eris does it. That's how MBLC does it.
Okay.
The overdrive cost per circ program, it hit us for $643.32 last month instead of $600, but I found the button that made that happen, fixed it, so that won't happen anymore. It made 246 additional loans possible at an average of $2.61 per loan. So if we hadn't have done that, our digital loans would have been, $1458 minus $246.
Okay.
And the door counter is working awesome, and I can't wait for a full month of statistics, because it's really neat to see, when the cleaners come in, because it pops something way out anomalous on the schedule. And then, when I'm coming in, we do the book drop, and then you see when Deb has programs, and
Yeah, that's
That's
good.
good.
and then it gets really confused, because during the programs, everyone comes in the front door, but then Deb lets them out the back door. So it's like all these
Oh,
people
boy.
came into the
Oh,
library.
that's right.
Where did they go? Are they still there?
Now we're going to have to
Because then you have to go in and manually massage it. Because like, until it has the count
It's like
going
a
out,
scary
it just
story.
I know, it seems like,
assumes they're still there.
that's like a weird sci-fi.
But yeah, so next month, I'll be able to report on August, like what days looked like in August. Because we
Yeah.
hooked it up, I think, August 7th was the first day we started tracking.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see. There's so many things you can tease out of there. Cool.
And that's the director's report.
All right. All right, so, moving on to old business, and under building projects, and the building program,
Right now, it's just hurry up and wait. We got 203 survey responses, which, super good. The town-wide planning development survey got like 78 responses, so I'm proud. I'm proud of us. Mary is working on writing up the various portions of the document, because there's like the historical piece, the town piece. She keeps contacting me for weird information, like how many households are hooked up to town water and where they are and stuff. So like all of that goes into the pot for doing this document. We've went back and forth a lot on the amount of space we want to allocate to seating and whatnot. She is still optimistic that she can pull out a MBLC eligible renovation program using our building footprint plus the third floor, plus, whenever we want to add an elevator on the back, just squaring it out to the edges so that you're taking advantage of that space there. It looks to me like almost tripling the square footage that we have available, but, so I don't know how that's going to condense down. But like right now, we're just waiting for her to do her work, and when she's done, she'll have a draft to present.
right? Looking forward to seeing that.
She cautioned me off of eliminating too much and trying to chop too much of it out, because she said that's something you want to do after you've got your building program done. Because like you get your wish list and then you put it out and say, what can you give us for X? Or, what can you quote us out at Y? And then the advantage of having all of the stuff in the input there is that, things can happen.
You've got the big picture.
You can end up with, cost overruns instead of cost shortages, and then you have, a paper you can point at and say, well, since, there's extra money in the budget, do this, instead of saying, well, since there's extra money in the budget, it can be cheaper.
We passed a motion at the last meeting, and I'm wondering if we should go back and reconsider it.
I don't know. I think it depends on what she presents and whether she's able to persuade you or not.
Okay.
What was the question? I didn't have the question. I heard Justin answer.
Last month, the board voted to not pursue the MBLC grant, and now Ellie was
Right.
questioning whether it was too soon to make that motion. That's what Mary is saying, but I mean, I would wait and see what she presents before we change anything,
You've probably already told us this before, Justin, about when you think she'll have her report.
I'm hoping by next meeting.
Oh, great.
And what was the thing that you said? I forgot that I was taking minutes. But you said something about, you were talking about the 203 responses. And then you said something about 75, and you got 75 from blah, 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 blah.
Oh, no, I was saying like the town did like a town-wide, survey for regional planning and management and stuff
Oh,
a few
that
years
was-
ago.
yeah.
And, we got double the responses that they did.
Okay.
I have something that I want to bring up. I guess this is a good point to bring it up. Maybe it should wait until the next meeting, because since we only have a bare quorum here. Couple of things. The first is, okay, the board has voted against pursuing the grant. So, what does the board want to do? Does the board want to pursue getting handicap accessibility? Does the board want to not do anything now? We're complacent, we're fine. This is something that I think really needs to be discussed. And we need to have we need to revisit this, not only for the possibility of maybe rescinding that vote, but where does the board want to go? Are we going to move forward? And if we do move forward, what is the board's responsibility and what are our roles in pursuing funding, if that's what we're going to do? Are we going to continue raising funds? Are we going to not? These are all questions that need to be addressed. And so I think I'd like to put this on the agenda for next month, and hopefully we'll have more members in attendance so that we can have a rich conversation about this and get a feeling of where everybody is at.
Well, I think once we get the building program, that will help us.
I think that's a good idea, and I think that goes hand in hand, because I watched the meeting, and I was left hanging. I was like, okay, well, now what? Now what are you going to do? So,
Well, my interpretation of the vote was that we were going to direct Mary to,
no, but what does the board want to do? Are we going to pursue
well, that.
handicap accessibility?
Yeah, well, this was a vote to, I think, if I understood it right, we were thinking to direct Mary to.
Tone it down a
No,
notch.
no,
Yeah.
the vote was specifically voting against pursuing the grant. That was what the vote was. There was no discussion about, maybe there was discussion about asking Mary to tone things down, but the vote was that the board said we're not going to pursue a grant for handicap accessibility. So my question is, now what? Now what do we do? So I would like to have something on the agenda for next month, and hopefully we can have a discussion with more board members.
Like, what do we do with the building program?
Yeah, I think having the building program first.
I agree, I totally agree, and hopefully we can have we'll have some, at least a draft that we can look at and get a sense.
Yeah, and I've said all along that I was hoping that Mary would offer us options, not just pursue the NBLC grant thing. And that's what I'm hoping she'll come up with, is some options for us. You know, not just addressing NBLC stuff.
But
Yeah, Yeah, when it's ready and done, she will come to a meeting to present a rough draft.
Okay, good.
We're not quite there yet.
Right.
But like what she's doing, one of the things that she's doing is breaking out like all of the different areas into like what their service needs are, like what you can put where. Like everyone said they wanted quiet study and, lounge space. Well, do you integrate that into main stacks so that it's interspersed into fiction? Or do you try to, put it somewhere else where it can serve double duty as, space for teens after a certain amount of hours? So it's like those jigsaw puzzle questions, like how can you use a space for two different things? And she's got like 5 or 6 different designations for like how like children's, teen, and youth stuff can work together. And so like the building program at the end, will have, a listing of all of these area designations, sort of a suggestion from her as to how to put them together into like a square footage seating chart, basically, which says we need, 3 seats for grown-ups, 5 seats for kids,
Exactly.
that and the other, and where you want them to be. And then, you would take that building program to an architect and say, look, this is not within our means, so how can we, choose which ones you want to prioritize, and say, this is what we want to move forward with, prioritizing, in design, if that makes sense. Does that make sense?
yes, that makes very good sense.
And I don't know if you heard it last month, but Justin did say that if we do, and I can't remember what the what it was referring to, but it was like, if you're spending 30%
Right.
on the worth of your building,
Right.
or.
Then you have to go the whole route.
You have to have handicapped accessibility
Yeah.
built into it.
Yeah.
But you can do other stuff if it's less than 30% of what.
I honestly don't remember what our building's assessed value is right now. I just
But
remember that
is that it?
it's low enough that you can't do a lot.
Right, okay. But it's
Like, we
yours.
can't just tack on an elevator on the back without also redoing the shelving and putting in bathrooms and having the parking.
And the
whole
shelving is
shebang.
part of that handicapped accessibility stuff, yeah.
And you have to have the signage, and all the doors have to be automatic, and it's like lots of little things you don't think about that snowball out.
One thing that bothers me is the post office is not, none of the doors work automatically. You know, they're all unautomatic. You all have to open the door to get into the
Oh, you
post
can't push the,
I mean, there's that ramp, but
Yeah.
you can't get into
but you
it.
can't open the door remotely.
Is that rule been changed?
Probably. I mean, like, the codes are always advancing and changing. That's one of the reasons our 2015 plans went stale so quick, is because they weren't even up to code anymore. Or not, the 2012 plans, the Van Hoorhus plans.
Okay.
All right, so we'll look forward to,
But are we going to talk about this again, or wait till Mary comes?
I don't think this is the time to have a discussion where there's
Yeah.
5 people.
Yeah,
You
no,
know-
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But do you want it on the next meeting's agenda, or do you
Yeah.
want to wait until Mary comes?
I would say let's put it on the agenda so it's there.
Okay.
I mean, we will
Like
have
all
to
the
decide what
options.
to do with the
Right.
building program when it's done, because if we want to, if somehow Mary convinces the board that, you know, like, this is awesome and we should go for the grant now, then we've got to get the building assessment done before, or the conditions assessment done before March of 2024, and then we have to get, you know, town meeting to pass $100,000 to spend on planning.
You know what I was thinking? Well, this is sort of stupid out of my head, but that in 1903, I think I'm pretty sure, what were the trees that were so good? The chestnut trees in Massachusetts were still around, because part of our house is 1903, had an addition put on, and there is chestnut beams in the house. But if that's what's been made, if the libraries, all supporting beams and stuff are made out of chestnuts, like concrete, or, you know, is really, or iron eye bars or something like that. So that might be something that would help us. So it's just,
Like, sell the
Well,
chestnut.
again, that's part of that would be the building condition, is that what the condition?
Building
or the
Yeah.
weight load, how much weight
Exactly,
load.
right, yeah. So that's.
But I mean, even if the stars don't align and we don't apply for this grant, I mean, it's not too early to start getting ready for 2026.
True.
I don't
I mean,
know.
and, you know-
But, and you had said at some point, I think the meeting before last, that you said that it was a very competitive,
I feel like we could be in a lot stronger position if this grant round had been announced 2 years prior instead of 1 year prior.
Yeah.
Douglas has a 5-year capital plan. We surprised everyone by saying, hey, can we have $100,000 next year for library building planning? Because then BLC just decided to announce a grant, you know, for a year in advance. And then, by the way, you know, if we get it, then we'll need, I don't know, between 14 million the following year, too.
No big deal.
No problem.
You can't spring that on a municipality, you know, it would be better, I think, to spend 5 years preparing and, you know, then just be ready.
Yeah.
but there's so many projects going on in the town, and there's safety issues, like the fire, police, you know, the police want to have a whole building, I can understand that, but it's a multi-million-dollar project, and the highway barn is a multi-million-dollar project, so and people are going to look towards those things as absolutely essential in their lives, where people that don't use the library aren't going to support it. You know,
So, I mean,
that's-
I think it depends on how good of a job we do with marketing. Because, I mean,
Dudley again. The library passed.
overrides in Douglas history, you know, all of them except for one that have passed have had the library involved, you know.
Yeah, but I don't think I think that's cruel. I really do.
It is cruel. But I mean, I'm saying if we were going for money for a debt exclusion, I don't think that our chances are as small as a lot of people estimate.
Well, we did
You know,
try.
it would be helpful too for the marketing side of things, is like what, like some of the other area libraries at overbuilt, you know? The plan was 5 million, we're only asking for a tenth of that, or.
Yeah, and Grafton's not even open right now because their brand new building is flooding.
Oh.
No way.
Wow.
The Grafton.
But Sutton did lose, you know, so, and Mary has experience with that whole process, so that's good.
But I mean, I feel like a rational project which makes sense, which is not overwrought and grandiose. I don't think, I mean, everyone talks about, you know, like Douglas residents are never going to vote for an improvement. They vote down fire trucks, they vote down this and that and the other every time but I mean, like, anytime you have a group working, you know, like you got like the Vote Yes Committee in 2018, I mean, the work they did was phenomenal. And I feel like if that was accomplishable, then a debt exclusion would become accomplishable. Maybe not next year, but in 6 years, maybe, if we prepared.
Okay.
So are we?
So I mean, like, I guess that's the options I see as to what to do with the building program, would be either to rush it, apply for the grant this year, and try to blitz it if we feel like we can get it through. Just my intuition is telling me most people don't. Or take it and fundraise and see what we can get for private donations and see what kind of progress we can make on our own, or take this building program, tuck it in, use what we've learned of it to inform our next strategic plans, action plans, you know, because, I mean, there's a lot of useful information we can use there to increase services. And then in 2026, 7, whenever the MBLC opens up another grant round, update it, and then have all of this stuff on the capital plan now. Like, just put it in, say, you know, like in 2027, we're going to be asking for $100,000. In 2028, we're going to be asking for an undetermined amount of money. And then, in the meantime, if we do strike gold, then none of that will be necessary.
Exactly.
But
I'm still trying to figure a way to get in touch with Stephen King.
With whom?
Stephen King,
Oh, really?
yeah. I'm reading The Stand for the 4th time. And I have
for the book club, right?
book. Yeah, well, what's the date of that? Do you know?
It's in September, because they're
Yeah, I
taking a
know.
summer hiatus.
I hope I'm back. I'm supposed to go away for a few days again, because I started reading it when I heard that. And it's a book that has a corner cut off of, this book is so old, it's like first edition. A book that has the corner cut off, so it's like, I know this was illegally gotten from somewhere, and somehow it came into my possession. So I want to write a letter to Stephen King with a check for $8.95, which is what the book cost back in whatever year it was, and say, oh, by the way, we're reading this book for a book club this month, and, you know, just in case.
I had a.
A signed copy of a book would be awesome for our auction.
September 7th.
That's an idea.
Or we could just use some of your pocket change.
Yeah,
But
we-
anyhow, they say he doesn't do any of that stuff, but you never know.
We get,
A whole bunch of money for banned books like Nora.
He calls
Nora,
them constant reader. He calls us his constant readers, so I'll say, your constant readers. Been there since the beginning. But anyhow, that was,
the Friends get every so often, $2 checks from, what's the place called?
Black Bod Giving Fund?
Yeah, Black Bod Giving. And the other day, I got 4 $2 checks from them. And so I looked up Black Bod and found out the CEO and the CFO guys and their email address.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, I should write them a letter and say, you know, you sent 2 checks in July. They were different dates, $2 each, and 2 checks in August, or maybe it was June and July or something like that. And I got them all at the same time. So I had to spend time, you know, filling out a deposit slip and everything else. And I was going to write to them and say, you know, it would be much more cost-effective for you as a CEO and CFO if you gave us just 1 check. And by the way, we happen to be looking for once a year or something like that,
Yeah.
but not these $2 checks.
Oh, I know.
And I have no idea why we get them,
I don't either.
you know.
Somebody somewhere has probably found us in like a nonprofit database or something and then said, oh, I want, you know, let the charitable contributions that are withdrawn from my paycheck to go there.
Yeah, but it's $2.
I don't know who it is.
I mean, I even made more than $2, you know, when I used to work, you know, but these guys make tons and tons of money, and why do they make so much money if they are so ineffectively giving
Well, it
these
costs
donations?
60 cents just to mail it.
Right.
And the check, if you think
And then
about the-
printing and the
it-
paper and
Yeah.
the manpower that's used in doing that.
Right. That's what I was
For a
gonna
while,
No.
it was always like $2.33 checks, $2.33.
For what?
It was like the Black Bond
Wow.
checks,
No, they're $2.
$2, every $2.
2.00. I deposited $8, which in turn I give to the building fund. So, and so that's a lot of work on their, you know, which goes into Bartholomew. So that all the work that we've, in getting the money is costing much more.
Yeah.
For the, not for me, but for the staff here that.
No, I think I figured out once to mail a check cost me like $1.75. It's something ridiculous because by the time you
The
pay for
cost
the
of your
checks.
check and
Yeah.
the-
Oh,
yeah,
postage and-
Wow.
I think it was that much. It was something to really think about, you know,
Right, yeah.
when you're writing small checks.
Still better than signing up for my chart.
Oh,
All right, let's move on.
Okay, I'm
All right,
sorry.
we're going to move on to other. Lighting a fire under Joe to trim the bushes.
I mean, you'll know how Joe is. You've got to poke him.
I thought, is this the same Rhoda's? Is this the?
Yes, Rhoda's agreed that once the bushes are trimmed, for $150,
Right.
they
right.
can come back and, you know, maintain them, keep the poison ivy out, keep things under control. So $450 a year for 3 visits a year.
Okay,
They also said they would clean up the whole thing for $700, which is
all right.
$200 more than Joe said he would do it for. But if Joe doesn't want to do it and, you know, isn't going to do it before the next meeting, do y'all want me to poke Rhoda's and get them to do it instead?
I'm all for that.
I just would,
Yeah, I'm fine with that. $450 for 3 visits.
yeah.
Well, it would be $700 initially to do the whole trim of all the bushes out front.
But there's quite a few people in Douglas that do, and I'd almost like to give it, an opportunity for other people to say, we'll do it, we'll do it, we'll do it.
Well, do you have any names of people?
No, we do our own stuff. That's why our gardens are so bad. You know, it's just-
Rhoda's did say that if it wasn't us who was asking, it would be a $1,400
Okay.
project to trim those things.
I'm all for doing it. I think it needs to be.
Because they're doing it at cost, and then, you know, they want the maintenance contract.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll entertain a motion to have Rhoda's do the work.
Well, we've already got Joe being paid $5.
I'll keep trying to poke Joe, but if I can't get Joe by next meeting, then I'll poke Rhoda's.
Okay.
It just takes a while with Joe. It took 2 years to get him his retirement certificate. I had to give it to his wife.
Oh my God.
No, but he,
Well, we're coming down to the end of
Yeah.
the season.
yeah,
to
well,
get it
that's
done.
just it,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, he's busy too, you know, so.
Then it'll be the end of September by the time we meet
I
again,
know. So
this has to be done in what,
how
by
about if
October?
we say,
Yeah, I would like it done before Oktoberfest.
yeah,
Sure.
yes, for sure. So how about if we say, if you can't get a hold of Joe, you can't pin him down, that the board approves you to contact Rhoda's and have them do a cleanup for $700.
Okey-doke.
Is that,
Sure.
should we do a vote on that?
I'm going to just abstain from it, because I feel it should be open to, maybe other people in town wanted to.
Okay, well, how would we go about that? Again, how?
Well, no, I don't, I think you should,
Do you want to put something out on social media
not I.
for someone to, I think dealing with a public building, you want to have someone who's reputable and has insurance, not.
Who does it for the rest of the town?
I don't know. I think the highway department takes care of most of the town shrubs and stuff, but I mean, they just, Adam wants to rip them up so that they don't have to maintain them. They'll mow our lawn and stuff, but they're not going to do the bushes and landscaping.
Can you tell us again how Rhoda's came into the picture?
I talked to them on my way to get smoothies one morning. Because they do a lot of they do the properties around us, like the realtor, you know, like where your husband is, like that little lawn out front. And they do I think in front of the picket fence, like there's just a lot, they're out there all the time working on different properties. So they do a lot of the downtown storefront places, which is why I poked them, because I was like, you're here already, so like, what would it cost to take care of those once those are taken care of, so they don't
Yeah.
get grown up again? And that's when they gave me the quote for, you know, the maintenance of it, and then they said, you know, they would do the clean out for $700 if we couldn't get it done otherwise.
I'm still going to entertain a motion to, first to try to get a hold of Joe. If it can't be done,
And give him a date.
and give him a date by whatever. What's the reason?
I think Oktoberfest is a good time.
So say by September 15th. If Joe can't do it by September 15th, then contact Rhoda's and have them come and do it. Does that work?
Yeah,
Do we wanna make-
I like it.
Do we want to make a motion? I think we need to vote on it.
So moved.
Second,
Second. All those in favor?
aye.
Aye. Dawn, you there?
I'm here. I couldn't hear what you said.
Oh, you've got the paper.
Oh, sorry.
We made a motion, there's a motion on the floor to give Joe until September 15th to trim the bushes.
Yep.
And if he can't do it by then, that Justin will contact Rhoda's and have them do it for $700.
Yep, I agree.
Okay. Ally, are you?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay. All right. Okay. The exterior lounge.
That's a lie. I didn't have anything to report earlier today whenever I made this report, but we're getting a picnic table delivered tomorrow.
Ooh.
Oh,
Oh gosh, I'm blanking.
The other
I'm blanking on, not Ethan Chisholm. He did the last Boy Scout project. Oh, and I didn't write it in the minutes either. Oh, now I feel like a jerk. Anyway, we're getting a picnic table tomorrow. Jack Dooner, yes, Jack Dooner. Was
just
not
typed the minutes.
expecting this. He wasn't expecting like stuff to come in for a while, so the picnic table's going to come in tomorrow, and we don't know exactly if it's going to be whole or if it's going to be in pieces. And we'll try to squirrel it away somewhere until we can get it together, or we'll have a picnic table tomorrow evening. I don't know yet. The wood on the benches has been replaced. They replaced it with red cedar, or red mahogany.
Nice.
And it looked, they look beautiful. They weren't able to get the dedication plaques off of the old boards, so I need to take those home, saw them out, remove some screws, give them a good oil bath, and then bring them back and mount them back on. I'm hoping to get that done next week. And that's all I got about that.
Okay.
On the Build Max, they quoted fixing the bricks in the archive and the storage room and painting the archive to seal them at $6,800. For something to be a capital improvement committee request, does it have to be over 10,000 or can it be any amount?
It has to be over 10,000.
Okay. So we could bring them
Well,
back and ask them to
10,000 or
find other things to do and get that over 10,000 and then put it in the capital committee plan if we wanted to, or we could just pursue doing it with grant money. I'm kind of partial to the idea of trying to put it in the capital plan and getting more things in the capital plan and plugging into that process instead of spending all of our grant money on what's not an urgent and predictable expense. Because, I mean, like, the bricks are crumbling a bit, but, I mean, it's not a danger. There's no serious structural degradation. It's just really cosmetic. Rebecca would like the walls painted because it's dark and dingy, because it's in the basement. So, I mean, if this happens this fall, great, but, if we can get it in the capital plan and have it happen a couple years from now, without having to spend grant money on it, then I think that would also be viable. A better alternative.
I know, that seems expensive for, I'm sure what they're doing is not consuming it precise or whatever, but I would be more in favor of trying to get capital to cover it, maybe get some other. Would they only work on the masonry kind of stuff?
They do masonry, painting, they've done the stairs, they did the repointing outside, they've done work on the town hall. They do a lot of work with Adam, and their prices are good, and he swears by their work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure you can come up with other things that they could be doing to bring that cost up. So we don't have to vote on anything now, right?
Yeah, it's just, I'll try to massage, I'll reach out to them. Well, first I'll take a look around in the basement and then see what else, like, are there bricks anywhere else that are spalling and need lining up? Maybe the Friends room needs some spiffying up and painting too. Because, I mean, like, the basement is mostly unfinished, still. We've got the drop ceiling tiles, but, we don't have carpet except for in the program room. The walls are bare masonry except for in the program room. I mean, except for the program room, it's an unfinished basement that we're using as an archive and a children's office and storage and a friend's room. So that might be a much bigger project. And I mean, and the other thing is that if we're applying for a grant to give a building renovation in a couple of years, then this would just get done anyway. So I don't really want to spend grant money on it. I want to get it in the capital improvement pipeline.
Okay. Sounds good.
And then the last bullet point was just kind of navel gazing that we've already talked about. I think it would also be a good idea to get assuming that the grant process continues and another round is going to open up in 5 years, as the MPLC says it is, go ahead and put that in the plan now too.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we don't actually start this stuff until closer to the end of the fiscal year, but it's just, I wanted to be thinking about it now.
Right.
Well, being on the capital committee, we always try to meet sooner than later, and it never happens. We did meet earlier in the year, I think before the annual town meeting, but We haven't met all summer long. I don't think. We might have met in June or something. I can't remember why now. But we haven't made that process yet.
Right. So moving on to grants and the capital campaign.
We're up $2,000 from last month.
Sweet. I was telling Justin I forgot to bring it with me. I got $50.50 from the donation jars.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Excellent.
it's sitting on my counter. I
Well, thank you
meant
for
to grab
picking it up. Yeah.
It's been a while, so I was pleasantly surprised
Yeah.
at the money I collected. It's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, great.
A little bit, but every drop in the bucket helps, right? So anyhow,
I get smoothies at the smoothie place, BZ Nutrition, I mean, almost every day. And they have it right next to the tip jar. So every time I'm like going to put my tip in, I almost put it in the library building jar instead of the tip jar. So I would
you know,
expect
it's funny because they have these, there's Dollars for Dogs. They've got things, and they keep putting their things in front. And it seems like the Dollars for Dogs gets people putting dollars in there. So every time I go in to check the jars, I always slide ours back out in the front. Like at the picket fence, they've got it in front of the Keno machine, which I thought was a really good idea. I says, well, if somebody wins a Keno, they're gonna put $1 in there. Not. No, but anyhow.
Well, if I had won that $1 billion, we would be all set.
Oh, you know what? Me too.
I want one of those things like old grocery stores used to have that you put like a dime in and then you can watch it circle around the drain before it goes down.
That'll be fun.
Like just get all the kids in Douglas to bring their change and
Yeah.
Maybe we could get another Boy Scout to build it.
Yeah, he's good at making suggestions to them, so.
So,
that's all I have to report for grants.
okay. LRP updates.
So we are now supposed to be technically working on our action plan for FY '24, which we approved last December. And we'll have to approve another action plan before December 1st this year for FY '25, if we want to be eligible for LSTA grants and building construction grants too, because they want your action plan submitted December 1st, and that's going to tell you exactly what you're going to do between July 1st and the following year, and, June 30th, the following year. But I am taking the action plan seriously this year because we do need to hammer out a procedure manual. When I started in 2015, the staff was strong. They've all been doing their jobs for years. We're starting, I think, to get to a point of burnout. Like COVID burnout hit a lot of fields after the pandemic, and it's kind of seeping in. People are tired and a little bit amotivated, and I don't know. I think getting the staff together to work on a procedure manual so that, we actually know precisely what our duties are, that instead of, me just expecting them to know what they are, will be helpful moving forward. And we are probably getting close to some retirements. So having everything codified, worked out, and it'll help me too, just to take off some of the cognitive load of what needs to happen today. Well, if it's a check sheet that's already done, then I don't have to worry about it. I just have to worry about keeping the check sheet updated as technology changes. So I'm hoping to start making progress on that this month. And we're also working towards getting that extra 4-hour staff position hired in. I'm hoping to get someone in who has experience with teens, so that we can, jumpstart some teen youth stuff with someone who has an expertise there. Because Deb's expertise is really with younger kids, and no one else has a background. But, once I know, Katie Malo, the school librarian, like if I could get her into the library for 4 hours a week, that would be awesome. There's a lot of other people I know who have kind of, said, why don't you do anything for young kids? I used to do things for teens and programs and things if you ever, have a job. So I'm hoping these people apply whenever we get this position out. And I don't want to advertise it as a youth services thing, but, a library assistant and, your off-desk duty will be, create a teen advisory board. And get that going and have a staff person dedicated to it instead of trying to get Deb to shoehorn it in around what she's doing for all the younger kids.
So you haven't hired anybody for that?
No, not yet. We haven't posted yet. And a lot of it is, I want to kind of get our current staff morale up a bit before we bring someone new in. Because, we've always had a cheerful culture, with me and Deb and Gail and Rebecca and Marie and the Pages. And, I think right now it's strained just because a lot of it is the cultural climate right now. And a lot of it is just, you've got to take a step back and evaluate now. You've got to do deep evaluations, and I've got to challenge them. I need to challenge my staff more.
I didn't get what you said, and probably because I'm clueless, but
Everyone's tired and demoralized.
why? You said because of the
Culture.
culture. What
Of
what
the
is
Second
culture?
Amendment audits going on right now, everyone.
Second
The
Amendment?
book bans, the First Amendment auditors going out to the libraries.
And
The
what's
book
this-
banning, libraries are kind of at the center of culture wars right now. And it's a position where most librarians don't want to be because that's not what they signed up for.
Right.
I don't know. I think
I
they
don't see it getting any
Word.
better.
No.
Is there anything we can do
Anytime real
as
soon?
trustees to like,
But we have robust collection development policies. We've got,
help with morale? Because it's a tricky time for libraries and schools.
I don't know if there's any kind of a fix, but have you ever thought about doing an in-service day where they do like some kind of, they don't stay in the library, we go somewhere.
A retreat.
Yeah. I worked for an organization for many years, nonprofit, that huge amount of employees, and there was constant burnout and constant low morale, constant going at each other all the time. And they spent money, but they would do these retreats at least once a year, maybe twice a year. And it really did help, for a little while, help people feel better and bring them together as a team. So I don't know if that's something that you consider.
Yep, I've thought about doing a staff retreat, maybe at Treehouse. I know everyone on staff likes Treehouse. Go to Treehouse once Friday.
Or maybe it should be
or something.
staff and trustees.
Oh, you don't want to be left out. Going to Treehouse, we want to come.
Yeah, maybe, I don't, yeah, but.
I've heard of other towns doing stuff. I guess I'd have to look into it more to kind of support the libraries in this difficult time.
Yeah.
Well, there are places where librarians could go to jail for putting a book in the wrong shelf.
Arkansas.
Come on,
Arkansas is one of those places.
that's
Mom and Dad's
crazy.
like, why don't you want to move home? I was like, I don't want to go to jail.
Yeah, no. But that is really a depressing thought.
But it's been around for decades.
Yes, but it's come to the.
It's not making headline, it hasn't made, it's making headlines now.
It's openly,
Yeah, well, I don't know. I always remember getting, complaints about some stuff and being inappropriate and whatever, and had people come to my trustees meetings and that
Yeah?
complain. Yeah. And
It happens. It hasn't historically happened here a lot. And, it's really not happening here a lot. It's just reading about it happening everywhere else that has everybody down in the dumps.
It is
It's like,
happening
well,
here.
stop reading news.
It happened in Millbury, it happened at Dudley Charlton School, they're trying to ban books. It is here. So maybe not.
Whatever happened to Dudley?
That passed.
They're funding the library and
Yeah.
the fire department, I think that was on the chopping block too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fire and police got voted in, and Charlton, the school district got funded. That was approved. But what didn't get funded was the town, it was administration and highway.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So they kept the library, but boy, I don't know how to take care of the
That's
town hall stuff,
Yeah.
or a street, or roads.
yeah, wow.
But what they did, they broke it into 5 different pieces.
Right.
So rather than being one huge number, and they detailed it down to what you would be paying on average per house. Like the library is going to cost people, I think, like $50 a year or something
what it
like
was?
that.
Yeah.
Something like that. And so you knew exactly. No, actually, I think the library, actually, the budget was less. So it was actually going to they'd keep what they had.
Right.
But some, I think police was going to add $50 on average. So anyway, they really made it, they detailed it so that you could, and vote on the individual pieces.
What was
So it
the,
worked, yeah, that worked, that strategy.
Douglas did that, I think,
Well, for
1990s.
for the library, it worked. It worked for the library, not for everybody, but.
yeah, no, Sturbridge had the same thing. Their budget was going to be cut completely, and it was only like 3 or 4 people in town that were pushing for it, and a lot of the people that go to town meeting were library supporters, so they just shot it down. There was something else that was happening last month. Now I can't remember. It's probably in the minutes. But, and I'm wondering what the upshot of it is now. Building program. Focus groups. No.
I don't know if trying to do a rally or something in support of the library would just draw the attention of that's kind of.
I think it's more of like, I don't know, I need to be doing more for my staff. I feel like I've kind of dropped the ball on it a little bit this summer and need to pick it back up and be a better director.
Yeah, we used to charge people 25 cents to use the telephone at the Sturbridge Library, anybody that wanted to use the phone. And we made enough money from it that we'd use all of that. We wouldn't give it over to the town. We kept it. And then brought us all out to dinner at Christmas. And I know Sturbridge has a lot of restaurants, but still there's several places in Douglas that are nice, and just to treat them to it. And unfortunately, I mean, the trustees couldn't vote any money for doing stuff like that, but
If you were to do some type of a retreat and take them to somewhere and put some type of a workshop into it,
that's
then you could
legal.
count that. Yeah.
Now, let me talk to Gene and Matt about it. Find out what all the,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they did have a volunteer, they tried it, or for a while, a couple of years, for celebrating with the volunteers of the world,
Yeah.
helping the town. But it sort of died by, it's no longer
Yeah, this
doing.
is, yeah.
he wants to bring it back, but COVID killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
I thought
it
that was
then.
nice.
was
I actually
nice.
thought that would be a good opportunity to maybe, like, volunteers could bring people who might be interested in volunteering and see
Yeah.
what it was like and get some information.
All right. So let's move on to Friends
Oh, friends.
and auction planning.
Well, originally Jim was giving this under other friends stuff, knife to be raffled off, but then we found out that the auction can't do online it's like buying lottery tickets online, you can't do it.
Right.
And so the auction can't do an online selling of tickets. But I think this is such a unique knife that he's offered to the Friends that it shouldn't have much problem in selling, so all of us should go out and sell tickets to our neighbors. Oh. But
We'll send them to the library, because they have to come buy them at the library.
well, but you could do it to have other people like selling raffle tickets.
Can y'all go out and sell raffle tickets? Or do they have to be sold on the premises? I thought they had to be sold on the premises.
No, they just can't be sold online.
Oh.
So it's online, that there's a state law that you can't do it.
I recall that you have to get a permit for.
We do have the permit. Ellie got the permit, and we have the paperwork for reporting at the end of the period. But Jim Saviano has already had these raffle tickets
made
and printed out, and they're numbered, so like we can put them out in ascending order for control. Here is a picture of it.
Great.
Wow.
He's having a glass case made to display it, so it'll be in front of the Circ desk computer soon, where people can come in and see it. But I'm hoping next week to get this out in a newsletter so we can kind of kick it off. He has already sold, I think, 70 tickets himself. So he's like, hey, you got to catch up. So yeah, we've got to catch up. We got to get this out there. We got to start selling tickets. Push it heavily in Oktoberfest at the Friends of the Library book sale. We can't sell the tickets in the auction, but we can let everyone know in the auction that the tickets are available at the library. And then it will draw for the winner at our October 24th trustee meeting.
Okay.
Oh my goodness.
And he's hoping that we're going to sell thousands of tickets because we have like 3,000 patrons. And but I mean, like, the people who want this are going to buy more than one ticket. I mean, they're probably going to buy 10.
Yeah, because he has donated knives, but,
He is saying that, the winner of the raffle can either pick that knife or $1,000, but that is way more than a $1,000 knife.
Yeah.
I know a little bit about knife making and forging because my dad did it in Arkansas, and we were involved in some of it down there, and I mean, like a $4,000 knife.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have 2 people on my list who would be really interested in that. Might have to buy a ticket.
Or 2. Were they immediate family people?
They're,
It's going to turn into a game of chicken real fast because if you buy more tickets, I need more tickets.
a brother-in-law and a son-in-law.
Oh, wow.
Well, my son-in-law actually dabbled a tiny bit with forging steel and making, or iron, of steel, I don't know, with his dad. And did some kind of a blade a while back. It's just, whatever. Anyhow. That's really impressive. All right, so board members are encouraged to make donations to the auction. I'm putting together some stuff, and I'm excited to see what's going to be in the catalog to bid on.
I don't have anything. After they said they don't want anything that's like chipped in yard sailing, it's like, that's all my
Oh,
stuff.
really?
When was the due date?
September
Or 15th, I think.
I think I have the email.
That's the date. Did I hang up on Dawn?
Oh, no.
Oh, no, company showed up. Okay, Dawn's gone. We don't have a quorum anymore.
Good, because we're just about done.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Any other old business?
Doesn't matter, meeting's over.
Yeah. New business. Hearing none? Next meeting, September 26th, 5 PM.
In person or Zoom?
Well, you know what?
I think if Mary is going to present, we should.
If she's going to present,
Yeah.
Let me reach out to her tomorrow and find out if she's going to be ready to present by the next meeting.
But we really have to give Chris a heads up, Chris Furno. I did contact her the next day after our meeting, just because thinking, uh-oh, we can't tell her 2 days before the.
Right, exactly.
Because she has to figure out the strategy of
Right.
which room goes where and stuff
Yeah.
like that, so, or maybe cable does too.
Well, I'll be honest, I'm all for doing the Zoom meeting, but we'll see what Mary has.
And maybe Mary would prefer to present on a Zoom
And she
meeting,
could
I don't know.
present the Zoom. That's not a
I
problem.
think everybody but Betty uses the screen, right? So they can see what's being presented, but Betty calls in.
Yeah.
Right.
I think Dana, no, I've seen him. Yeah. But I think if we're going to meet in person, maybe we can decide,
Did you
while it's
adjourn?
light out. we
Oh,
can,
do we have a
like, in
motion to
war, we can
adjourn?
have in-person meetings, but in the dead of winter.
So moved.
maybe
All right,
just-
do you have a second on
You
adjourning the meeting?
So,
A
Yes.
second?
It's not a real meeting anymore, so I'll second.
All right. All those in favor?
We can't vote.
I have to stand, my hip is killing.